Alright, so in this video we're going to talk about what happens when we add another asset to our model or to our market. And this is just a continuation of the asset pricing videos we've been doing. So I just came over to geogebra.org and we'll hit start calculator. And that's fine. Okay, so here we go. So the first thing we're going to do is label our axes, and I'm going to go with the cash flow methodology that I did the second time. So let's just put some text, and we'll say, what do we want to say? Cash flow at time 1, and then over here we're going to have cash flow at time 0. So that's today. And I know, what did I do wrong? Oh, cancel. Here we go. Cash flow at time 0. And one of my friends told me, he thought it might make a little more sense to have these two axes switched. And actually, you'll see more later why we do it like this. But, the quick kind of answer is this, usually what we're trying to do is asset pricing. So given a couple payoffs in the future, what's the price going to be? So it's price today going to be. So it's sort of like this is a function of the cash flow later, right? So the price you have to pay today or the cash flow today is a function of the cash flows later. So you can sort of think of it as plugging 3.5 into your market and seeing what the price today is. So that's sort of why this is going to be our vertical axis, okay? All right, so what we're going to do this time is we're going to make a market with two assets. Okay, so the first asset we'll do is just putting money under a mattress, right? So $1 today is the same as $1 tomorrow. You lose $1 today, you gain $1 tomorrow. So this is like putting money under your mattress. Okay? And so the other thing we'll do is we're going to add a second asset. And so, I can just draw an asset here. I'll just pick some vector and I'll start here, and then, this is another asset, okay? And then we call it an asset because, you have to pay some amount today to get some cash flow tomorrow or in some later date. Okay, so that's all it is. And so what do we want to do? We want to tinker with these and see what happens to our market. So what I'll do just to set up, just to give ourselves like a little tinker space, is I'm going to say, all right, let's fix, and we sort of did this in the previous videos, we're going to fix our cash flow in the future at 1, and we're going to vary the price today or the cash flow today. Okay, so I'll do it sort of the same way we did it last time. So I'll go ahead and I'll delete this, okay? And now what I'll do is I know this point B is at 1, 1, or let's look, 1, 1, okay? Or 1, -1. And then what I'll do is I'll just draw our little line again. So I'll do a parallel line, parallel to the y-axis, and then through this, through our point at 1, 1. And now I'll make another point on the line, okay? And then what I'll do is I'll just hide this line. Okay, so I will just hide the line. Okay, so now we have, this is movable. It says, okay, we're going to get a cash flow of $1 tomorrow. And today we're varying the price of this asset. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'll draw this vector again, just because that's kind of what we're used to. So now we have V as our new asset. This is money under the mattress, okay? And like we did last time, we're going to go ahead and convert this to a line because, this is the asset, but you can do it however much you like. You can put $2 under your bed today and you'll get $2 tomorrow, okay? So we're going to do the same thing with these assets. This is just like the last video, right? Okay, so now we're at the point of we're just experimenting with what happens in our market if we add a second asset, which is a pretty natural question, right? Because in finance or the world, there's tons of assets, right? So we're not just one. Okay, so we're going to ask our 3 basic questions. So we're going to ask, is the market complete? does the law of one price hold? And is it arbitrage free? Okay, those are our three basic questions. But this time we're actually going to do them in a little bit different order, okay? So we're going to, what did I do? I think I'm just going to undo, well, I want to do it in this order. So I want to do the law of one price first, okay? And then I want to think about whether it's arbitrage free. And then I want to think about whether it's complete. Okay, so we're just doing them in a different order, okay? And you'll see why. All right, so first thing is the law of one price. Does that hold in this market, okay? And we've got our little sandbox here. Okay, so what if I set C, what if I set this price today, or this cash flow today of negative 50 cents to get $1 tomorrow, okay? But this other asset down here, this says you can get $1 tomorrow by putting $1 under your mattress. So you might see what's happening here is the law of one price does not hold in this, right? Because here we're saying to get $1 tomorrow, you have to pay 50 cents. But here we're saying to get $1 tomorrow, you have to pay a whole dollar, right? So in this market, the law of one price does not hold. No. But I gave us this free reign here. So we're still at no because that same reasoning applies, right? There's two different prices to get $1 tomorrow. Okay, if you're down here, that same reasoning applies. You can either pay $1 to get $1 tomorrow, or you can pay $1.50 to get $1 tomorrow. There's two different prices. It makes no sense. Okay? But if we move this asset here, now the law of one price still holds. Because they're pretty much the same asset, right? It's almost like, I don't really know if it's like a cheat or what it is, but basically all I'm saying is if you vary the price of this second asset, if you make it the same as the other price today, then the law of one price will hold, but otherwise no. So I'm going to edit this text, and I will say only when b equals 0, right? Only when the t0 of b, okay, is 0. Or of c, I think is what I want to say, isn't it? Yeah, of c. Alrighty. Okay, so we talked about the law of one price. And, we'll talk about arbitrage next. And so previously when we talked about arbitrage, we were like, okay, none of these are arbitrage because you would have to pay some money today to get $1 tomorrow. This would be the arbitrage case because someone's paying you 25 cents right now, and then they're also giving you $1 in the future, and you're like, there's no conceivable reason in which you would not take money today and tomorrow. Okay, so now we're in the situation of like, okay, there's probably not arbitrage because we're both in this kind of quadrant down here. But actually, there is arbitrage in this case. So what you'll find is that if the law of one price does not hold, which it normally doesn't in this case, right? As long as the y value or the t naught value is non-zero or is not -1, that should be -1. Okay, so this is arbitrage. There's arbitrage all over the place, but why though? And the reason is because, okay, if either of these assets will give you $1 in the future, all you have to do is, since this one right here is cheaper, you should buy this and sell this. Does that make sense? So what we'll do is we will take +1, which one are we buying? We're buying V and we're selling U, okay? So now if we buy V, that's like saying V, and then we're gonna sell U. So I'm gonna do V minus U. Looky there. Do you see what V minus U is? It's this W vector here. And what that says is, oh, we're going to get 40 cents today and have no cash flow tomorrow. That's perfectly fine. I would take 40 cents today with no cash flow tomorrow. I mean, there's no downside to that. That's an arbitrage, right? And so really what we did was we took these vectors, these assets, and we bought one and sold one such that we could make 40 cents for free today and have no downside tomorrow. That's an arbitrage, right? So here is exactly an arbitrage scenario because the law of one price doesn't hold. So let's go to the case in which the law of one price does hold, and we'll see if we have an arbitrage. So how did we do that? We dragged C right on top of here. Bingo. The law of one price holds now. And are we arbitrage free? We actually are. Because when we subtract these two assets from each other, we buy one, we sell one, which is the same as subtracting the vectors, we no longer have a risk-free profit. Right? It's 0-0. You know, if you put money under your put $1 under your mattress, and you also take $1 out from under your mattress, then you have no change, right? Okay, so that's arbitrage free, and that's okay. So we've discussed this one. Is it arbitrage free? Only it's actually the same time here. But don't read this as arbitrage free, and man, this thing is not copying and pasting well for me. But don't read this as arbitrage free is the same thing as the law of one price, because that's not true. But I am going to say only when T naught of C is equal to -1. Okay. Now our last question is this market complete? And remember what complete is asking. It's asking, given any amount of cash flow, right? Let's say you're sitting today and you're like, you know what? I want $3 tomorrow. Okay, so what that's wondering is, can you find some amount of these assets to give you $3 tomorrow, right? And the market is complete if you could do that same reasoning with any amount of dollars. So the same thing applies to 4. It's like, I want $4 tomorrow. You certainly could get that, because how do you do it? You could just put $4 under your bed, and then you'd get $4 tomorrow. So even though there are these two assets, and you know our market is basically completely broken because there's arbitrage, the law of one price doesn't hold. It's a crazy market, but it is still complete because we can achieve any of these future cash flows. Now, you'll see in future videos situations in which the market is not complete, and then you'll have a little bit of contrast and understand, because right now it looks like I don't see how it could ever be incomplete. But really what needs to happen is we need more dimensions on this domain, and that will happen when we have two states in the future, because right now all we have is cash flow at time 1, cash flow at time 0. But this, in most cases and in future videos, there's going to be two different states at time 1. So you can think of like a stock as, you know, there's an up state and a down state. And so that will give us another dimension, and that will show you a market that's incomplete. So that'll be the next video, and I hope you all liked it. So thank you.